Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 33 of Columbia City. Today we're going to be building a new district north of downtown here. There were buildings here before, but I removed them so that we could start from scratch, and I've started us off by building this city hall with a plaza and then some government buildings with their own plaza behind it. It took way too long to build it, so I did it off camera. But anyway, let's get straight into building the brand new district here. Hopefully you're all doing well. We're back here in Columbia City. I am working on the detailing for this city hall building. I tried to record this on camera, but getting the positioning right of the plaza and everything took way too long. It would have been a quarter of the video, and it was really just placing down some buildings. So I did that off camera, or at least I didn't include that footage. But I've got this like sort of stairway behind it that leads up to the road, and I'm using some PO planters as well to cover up the imperfections there. And I'm sort of placing some surface props down here. Actually, no, I think I end up just not doing that and just placing some planters with trees instead. I'm trying not to go crazy on the foliage detailing here, just placing some basic trees with planters and stuff like that, because this plaza by King Leno looks really good without even any foliage. Like it could just be grass and it'd be good, but I'm using some of those trees by Mr. Mason there, and I'm using some of these newer paths from the workshop to connect this plaza to the roads on the sides. The dimensions weren't perfect for what I was building. I could have changed the dimensions of the roads, but it actually ended up working out better this way because these roads are on slopes, and it was a little bit glitchy. But yeah, this plaza, I've been meaning to use this for so long. I actually have used it in New Windsor for, weirdly enough, I mean, you know, a city hall building. Another thing you might notice is a lot of the buildings around here are pretty short, and that's intentional. The city's zoned these buildings to be short so that they're awesome views of the skyline, the core of the skyline from this avenue here. And you'll see in the cinematics, it looks really good. I've shown you this view before. It just looks a lot more complete now. Actually, I don't know if we have a specific cinematic of it this episode. There are just some amazing views of that direction. It really, really showcases Prosper's amazing high-rise buildings, which have texturing and colors that I absolutely love and which look perfect for our Pacific Northwest build here. And then obviously we're going to be using a lot of different buildings in this episode, because this episode's going to be loads and loads of high-rises, basically. We're placing a lot of high-rises. I'm placing some older buildings as well. The district that we're basing this off of is geographically in the same location in Seattle, sort of north of the core of downtown. And it's got a lot of newer high-rises, although it's also got a bunch of older buildings, maybe some row houses, but just older, smaller buildings as well. So we're mostly going to be placing newer high-rises here, but there will be some older development as well. And I'm just going to basically place initially a bunch of stuff on camera, but it's really tedious placing all of this by hand and trying to get this right, because I have to calculate what the skyline's going to look like from different angles, and doing that on camera is not quite the best experience. So there are going to be portions that I do off camera, but I'll give you a little update in the cinematics in a couple minutes when we do that. But for now, I am planning this on camera, and we've got this this corner area over here. I've placed these really tall high-rise, the sort of double high-rise buildings over there, which have like a rooftop pool on like a bottom level. That's a pretty cool building. That's like from a new high-rise condo pack from the workshop, or relatively new. And then we're basically just placing tons and tons of buildings by Prosper and by Smiley's here. They just work perfectly for this district. And we've got a couple older buildings, because this district is right next to Chinatown, which has got a lot of older buildings in it. It's just zoned differently from this district right now, but in a future episode, we're going to place some buildings that are under construction near Chinatown to make it look like development is even finally making it into even the most historical districts of the city, because that's what happens a lot of the time, even the Pacific Northwest, especially a lot of the time actually in the Pacific Northwest, where you've got lots of new development where it's usually, or at least a lot of the time for these crazy high rises, not very affordable, but it'll still be zoned in historical districts, which is unfortunate, but the reality for a lot of these cities. But yeah, so we're basically continuing to place some older buildings, just combined with newer buildings here. I'm just trying to make sure the transition is smooth. Like, we've got some older buildings, but way fewer than we'd have in Old Town or Chinatown. But we definitely have a lot of newer development. Some of the newer development is actually pretty good. Like, it's nice mixed-use development. A lot of it's not. A lot of it is, luxury high-rises, which sort of sucks. But, realism here. But yeah, like, there's just so many amazing buildings for this transition. Like, I had no trouble finding assets for this. And I just went crazy mostly with Smiley's buildings and Prosper's buildings. They're just awesome high-rises that, like, some of the best glass high-rises on the workshop. And then those newer the high-rise condos are amazing as well. I think I placed one before in the city, but I'm really getting a chance to use them now. And another thing, it might initially seem unrealistic to have buildings that are this tall so close to the really short buildings, mostly in Chinatown. Well, the inspiration for this is San Francisco and Vancouver. So San Francisco's Chinatown is zoned completely differently from the financial district, which is right next to it. If you've ever been to Chinatown and walked around that area in San Francisco, it goes like all of a sudden you're in the financial district, and a moment ago all the buildings were 4 stories. The same can be said for Vancouver. In Vancouver's Chinatown, it's generally pretty short buildings, but very close by are the glass high-rises of the newer part of the city, or at least the place where a lot of the new development is taking place. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the inspiration for this. It might seem like the zoning contrasts are really, really, really clear and unrealistically clear, but not really. Like, this is how it is in real life, and especially because this area is separated from Chinatown by a railway, it makes a lot of sense. Like, you'll see this a lot in real life. So let's just take a look at all of the stuff that I did off camera in this district. So I basically just went in and placed the rest of the buildings that we're gonna need to make this district here. Basically just the same mix of the new and old buildings and the high and low buildings that I was placing before in the time lapse. If you guys are enjoying, make sure to leave a rating on the video. That'd be highly appreciated. Thanks so much for all the support recently. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times before, but the amount of comments on new videos has skyrocketed in the past couple of videos. On average, before maybe we got 80 comments to 115 comments maybe. We're getting consistently over 200 comments over the course of just a couple of days now, which is crazy, and I'm so glad everybody's giving such awesome feedback in the videos, because I'm having so much fun reading all of your comments. I do make sure to read all of them, even if I don't respond to all of them. I make sure to mostly just give most of them a heart, or respond to the ones that I can, and then the Q&A segment that we do makes it a little bit easier for me to get to a lot more of your questions in bulk. So anyway, let's get started here with the Q&A. The only rule is don't ask me if I'm gonna build a certain city or something, but you can ask any other sort of question in the comments below. Just make sure to tag your comment, hashtag Q&A, and I'll answer it. And if you don't want me to say your name in the video, you can let me know that you want to be anonymous. But anyway, let's get started here. So the first question is from Communist Tomato. What has been your most favorite series that you've done on City Skylines? Columbia City, hands down. I love this city. I mean, I feel like I could probably maybe slightly prefer Calabria Beach if I had like spent more time on it and it was a lot more developed, which will happen at some point. But right now, Columbia City, for sure, I feel like it blends my favorite parts of lots of different types of American cities, from East Coast to West Coast. Like, Seattle's a very East Coast city for the West Coast, but it also has the dynamic new transit development that West Coast cities have, and lots of new bike infrastructure and cool stuff like that. And I'm having a lot of fun building it here. It's also got beautiful nature, so that's a plus. The next question is from Caleb V. When will you do the airport? Love your videos. Thanks, Caleb. I'll probably be doing the airport a long time from now. I have no plans to do it anytime soon. I really want to just work on the city and its immediate surroundings first, and just expand it, because I feel like that should be #1 priority. The next comment or question here is from Casey Fleur. How do you record cinematics? I record them using the Cinematic Camera Extended mod, and you could grab that mod from the workshop. I'll link it in the description. I'll also link a tutorial from Flux, which is a amazing tutorial on how to use the Cinematic Camera mod, because Flux is basically a master of that mod. So yeah, that's in the description as well. Let's see. The next one is from Jorgnider. Sorry. How long do you have to play to get such a long episode? Usually, I'm in game for, I don't know, what I record versus what I'm in game for is totally different. Like, I have, each week, I probably have like 25 to 30 hours on the game at minimum. So, I guess for each video, I probably tend to put it, like, each time-lapse, let's just say, each time-lapse recording is probably about 2 to 3 hours now. It used to be less before, but I've actually started speeding up the time-lapse more. So let me know in the comments if you like that better, because people were saying it was too slow with the rebrands, and yeah, that makes sense. Now that we've got the slower camera movements, I think we can speed up the time-lapse and get more done in each video. From what I can tell, it actually looks really enjoyable to watch. In this video, we're speeding it up at 800% rather than 500%, so let me know in the comments what you think of that. Anyway, the next question is from Silchuki14. Your How to Make Your City Realistic is hugely popular, but 2 years old. Are you still using the same exact mod/settings? And if not, what changed? Yeah, I basically use the same mods. I mean, different settings per city. I'm actually going to be changing the graphic settings a decent amount in the next video. You'll see that, but a more up-to-date tutorial would be the tutorial I made for the official City Skylines YouTube channel. Everything mostly is completely up-to-date there, so you should be able to follow that and get the newer mods that I'm using, basically. But, I mean, settings, I always change my settings to some degree, but for New Windsor, the settings should be basically the same as they were in that video. The next and final question is from Archie McName. What is your academic direction? What are you studying? So I'll be at UC Berkeley as a junior in the fall. I just transferred, and I'm going to be studying political economy as my major, and I'm probably going to try to minor in city planning, because they've got a pretty good program, and I'm looking forward to actually taking classes in environmental design and stuff. And I'm hoping to get a master's in public policy and or urban planning. We'll see. But that's my general academic direction. Not 100% sure about the details yet, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Thanks for the questions, everyone. Once again, leave a question in the comments with hashtag Q&A if you want to be featured, and let me know if you want to be anonymous or not. I'm going to try to start asking that, because I know some people want to be anonymous, or I could use a different name for you. I don't know, just let me know in the comments. And once again, only rule is no saying, are you going to be building a Midwest city, or like any sort of specific city like that, because it's really unlikely that I'm going to be starting a big project anytime soon, so my answer to all of those questions would be no. But yeah, anyway, Let's move on here. I had a couple other things I want to mention. Oh yeah, another thing. I stopped adding the transitions that I started adding with the rebrand. They looked a little bit weird, and they just looked unnatural for Columbia City and for City Skylines videos generally. So let me know how you like that change. I'm mostly just using, like push transitions now, just wipe transitions, some, cross dissolves, like sometimes no transitions at all. And I feel like that, just sort of like I did before the rebrand, and it just looks more natural and easy to watch, and those transitions were a little bit pointless. Let me know what you think. I got a little feedback on that, so I want to let you know. But yeah, another thing, if you have any comments or suggestions about the build, let me know in the comment section down below. That is the best place to do that. I'll make sure to read all the comments. Once again, even if I don't respond to every single one, I have seen your comment, so that is a good place to give suggestions. And once again, comment section has been completely exploding recently, and I love it. So thanks everybody for all of your wonderful and thoughtful comments. Like, we get some decent amount of comments every video that are at least 2 paragraphs long, just suggesting things from like locals in Seattle or people who have insight into the type of development that I'm building or something like that. And that's really, really cool. Like, I can't overstate how cool that is. And I'm really loving the sort of interaction we've been having on the channel recently. It's been awesome. But yeah, we're sort of moving on to the final portion of the time-lapse here. We're placing down a couple construction sites, because I haven't really done this, like actually detailed a construction site. Maybe I've done it once in Columbia City, but there's some awesome buildings under construction on the workshop, and there are 2 of them that I really like, and you're able to clip them together so that it looks like it's more than just a smaller building, like it's got a different size. I don't know. Basically, you're able to build some really awesome construction sites now in 2020. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just basically placing some gravel down on these construction sites, and I've placed these, once again, these high-rise skyscrapers that are under construction. I'm placing some cranes, just some old-fashioned construction stuff, and it looks awesome. Like, I really miss detailing construction sites like this. Like, the last one that I really detailed was in New Windsor almost 3 years ago. But yeah, this is basically it for the time-lapse. Let's hop into some announcements about some stuff we've been voting on and talking about for Columbia City. So the first thing I wanted to let you know about is the tall buildings in Old Town. What are we doing with them? Well, you guys were basically 50-50 on whether to remove them or not. But there were a ton of comments and a ton of upvotes on those comments to keep this skinnier building and remove the wider building. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully you like the compromise here. I really like it. It basically looks something like this without that taller building. I think it looks a lot better. Let me know what you think. I think we're going to be sticking with this, though, as we move forward for the Old Town. So the next thing, Chinatown, we're going to be naming this street here Wing Luke Avenue, as chosen by Jackson Geary, who basically noted that Wing Luke was a really, really prominent figure in Chinese civil rights and the first Chinese American elected in Seattle. Another historical name here, we're going to be naming this park South Park after Chief South. Seth's last name basically noted that Chief South was the leader of the Squamish tribe, which used to inhabit the Seattle area, so that makes sense. The final name is going to be for the zoo, which is going to be a name that was suggested by 2 different people, Mike Murphy and Larry Steele, and that name is the Robert T. Payne State Zoo, after Robert T. Payne, who was a famous zoologist in the Pacific Northwest and apparently had a ton of environmental discoveries in the region, according to Mike. So thanks to both of you for the suggestions there. Now let's move on to a quick before and after segment. I forgot this in the last video, but we've got it now. This is the district. Hopefully you like it. We got a lot done in this episode. I mean, look at this. We built this entire area from scratch in this episode. I'm really happy with that. Hopefully you are too. Anyway, let's just take a quick look at an overview of this district from start to finish. So off camera, I built these 2 taller black buildings from Chicago and then the City Hall Plaza. We detailed it on camera. That area it was built off camera, once again, just because it took too long for me to get just the basics down. But yeah, I really like it. I think that's a good area for the main governmental buildings for the city. So here's the core of the district here. One thing you'll notice is the wall we placed in between that road there and the rail line. I was trying to figure out what we were going to do there. I ended up placing these walls by Avanya, and they worked really well. It's like a boardwalk area sort of thing that people can walk on, but I mostly did that off camera. Anyway, this is the district. You'll see the construction in the way back by the freeway. You can barely see it in this view, but I promise we're gonna have some awesome ground level shots of the construction sites that we built in this episode. But yeah, I'm so happy with this. Like, we got so much done in this episode. I was able to do a lot off camera, but I'm pretty sure I captured everything that we really needed to on camera. But yeah, here we go. This is the ground level view of what we've built today. This is the junction by the construction sites here. We've got a really awesome bike lane crossing. This is part of the core of this district. You can see one of those government offices. Yeah, you can really see how dense this district is. It's a really, really dense district around the Civic Center here. And then we've got the view on the street in front of the Civic Center with a bus going by and a light rail going by, and it's cool. I love it. Really awesome shops here. I'd love to walk down this street. Then we've got the Civic Center itself, City Hall, whatever it is, and we've got trees all around it. I love this area. It's very, very photorealistic here, and you can just vibe in the plaza. We have this gas station that's sort of shoved into this corner here. Not even a corner, this is just a normal plot, not even a corner lot, like you might see a gas station in the suburbs, maybe, but I like it still. And we have excellent bike infrastructure in the district here. I think the bike infrastructure is definitely infrastructure I would totally ride on. Really, really new district in terms of most of the development here, so it makes sense that there's a lot of new bike infrastructure. Then we've got this this view from the boardwalk area here, or whatever this is. I like it, and we've got this old building. Pretty cool stuff. And then we have the parking garage by King Leno that I've placed in the middle of the district. I placed a bunch of parking garages. I love this asset so much. It's so detailed and amazing, and I'm really happy we got it in the workshop. And just all of King Leno's garages are awesome. And here's the plaza in the middle of the government building area. It's got a fountain by Jez, and it has a bunch of awesome stone benches from the vanilla game. I like the area. This is one of my favorite locations, just this view right here. You're going to get a cinematic on the ground level a little bit later in the video, and I think you're really going to like it. But it's got the concrete highway going down and just the street level view and this junction area. I just love how the construction looks in the city, and it's at a very central place in the city. Oh wow, this is just so cool. And we've got the animated crane with custom animation loader. Like, look at that. That is so cool. Wow. And here's the junction by the Civic Center Plaza area. We've got a light rail going through here, stopped at the intersection, stopping for the cyclist. And yeah, this is the district. It's really dense. This district is really dense, and it's a cool mix of new and old. And it's probably one of my favorite districts that we've made in the city. If you've got any name suggestions for this district, let me know in the comments. Right now I'm just calling it North Downtown, but maybe there's a better suggestion that one of you have in the comments for the name for this area. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. That would help out a ton. Subscribe if you're new around here. Hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button to get notified whenever I upload so you never miss a video. And you can support me on Patreon if you want to get access to the save game, or get your name in the credits, or get videos early. That's in the description as well. Support's highly appreciated. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where I post screenshots of the city and updates and stuff like that. Those are all in the description. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed the video. I had a blast. This was a good one, and I'll see you next time.